Hello everyone, Naya Keeper here. We have a male black-headed python right now. He's trying to kill this already dead rat. This is good news because this guy was always reluctant to feed in front of me. But now he was very interested in the rat. And actually he struck at it violently when I started to shake the rat in front of him a little bit. So maybe he didn't like the mice that I have and he wanted rats, or he was just, finally used to the enclosure and me. I got this guy probably around 6 weeks ago. And he fed 3 times in that 6 weeks, missing 3 meals, and he always fed when I pretty much put the dead mouse on top of him at night in one of his hides. So feeding on broad daylight in front of me while the camera is running and pretty much striking and holding the animal is a big improvement for him. Now, black-headed pythons are very large snakes normally. Believe it or not, this animal is not even a half-year old. They hatch big and they start eating large prey items. So this hopper rat shouldn't be a problem for him. Again, for those of you who don't know black-headed pythons, I still cannot pronounce their scientific name properly. But the common name is black-headed python, and they come from Australia. Anyway, I had to leave you guys for a little while as I have company. But again, they come from Australia. They are pretty widespread. They are large snakes, and in Australia they mainly feed on lizards. So, since it's very difficult to get feeder lizards, they are switched to mice and rats here. The howling you hear at the background is my crazy husky welcoming my wife home. So just bear with him, please. Alright, I will leave you guys with him. And let's see how he manages to finish this rat. Alright, I guess he's still in the process of feeding. Let me see if I can increase the visibility a little bit. Yeah, this should work better. I'm currently feeding other animals as well. The Gila monster's fed, and the Acanthopus Wolfie just ate. And then I have this guy's sister to feed when he is done. So it's again a busy Sunday here. And yes, my dog always goes crazy when we come home. So all the voices is very normal. Alright, so far so good. Yeah, Australian fauna is very interesting when it comes to snakes. In a normal situation, 90% of the snakes that you would have in a given place will be non-venomous, and the remaining 10% will be venomous. But in Australia, it's switched. 90% of the snakes are lapids, and the remaining 10%, of course these are rough numbers, don't quote me anywhere, but just trying to give you an idea, the remaining 10% is non-venomous, and these pythons are one of the few non-venomous species. They are constrictors. They constrict their prey to kill them. The prey suffocates and also probably suffers from broken ribs, etc. And dies. And in their natural environment, these will eat bearded dragons. They will even eat big monitor lizards, and there are a lot of monitor species, a lot of animals from the Varanus genus in Australia for these guys to hunt to eat. They probably take the occasional rodent prey as well. But in captivity, they are usually switched to completely rodent diet, so some people say that they also suffer from this. Now when I look at it, I see that this rat is a bit too big, so a smaller one would have been a better choice, and it should be a good reminder for me for the next feeding. But I still think he'll manage. Now one additional interesting thing about this guy is that he comes from a calico father. You know, calico is a term that I'm using very loosely here because the genetics of this pair is still being debated in Australia as well. The so-called calicos, they start life very normal looking, maybe slightly lighter in color than their normal relatives, but right around time when they hit sexual maturity, they start to lose a lot of pigmentation on the sides, so they end up being quite white or cream colored on the sides. And this guy's father is like that. Mother was a het. So we don't know how the genetics works, but he he may be carrying the same condition, which will make him uniquer. And the same thing, applies to his sister as their leader mates. Again, I was thinking to stop the video and then restart when he was almost done, but I think this is going to be interesting, and it's going to be a nice video to show people that snakes can swallow very large items. And I think this will be an interesting demonstration for that, so I will not stop filming. Just to explain you guys one thing, the colors of the snake is actually much more vibrant. The head is definitely completely jet black, and the body is very nice looking, but I use pretty naturalistic substrate in my cages, and this guy likes to borrow a lot, so it gets very dirty, and the vibrancy of the colors go away with dirt. But when when I give him a bath, they come back, and he still looks amazing. Of course, that might have been another reason why he was reluctant to start feeding, because he was kept in a reptile rack with paper substrate, and switching from that to this is of course a big switch, and the snake might have needed some time to accumulate itself, and that's also quite normal. But I think he's doing a great job. Let's get his whole body in frame. So yeah, it's interesting that one of the most common reptile pets, the bearded dragons, are a common prey item for these guys. I assume that if I have placed a bearded dragon here in this cage, I will not find it tomorrow morning. And I was offered this by a friend of mine who keeps bearded dragons. He had some extras, but I really hate feeding reptiles to reptiles. That's one of the reasons why I never kept a Ophiophagus hanna, the king cobra, because you can switch them to rats as well, but it's difficult, and I really don't like giving snakes to snakes as food. And king cobras, as most of you know, are snake eaters. Now this guy is almost done. He's doing a very good job with this, rat. And the rat again was, I think, a significant size compared to the size of the snake's head. Even though it was just a hopper rat, it's definitely bigger than a large mouse. So again, I'm glad for the feeding response that the snake gave to it, and I'm glad that he's doing a very good job swallowing it. So let's just zoom in a little bit to the business end. The eyes again, the eyes of the snake look a bit blue, but believe me, it's not. He's not in shed. It's the dust that settles on him. That gives that kind of a coloration. But we are at the final part of the feeding, looks like, and it looks like he's gonna swallow some dirt with the rat, but I'm not too concerned with this much dirt with a decent sized snake. I keep most of my snakes outside of their cages because of this reason. But again, even if he swallows a bit, and he may not, it's not gonna matter that much. This is a very safe substrate to use, and it will just go through his system. But I think he did a wonderful job with this mouse, with this rat. And I'll sleep easier today, that's for sure. With him eating in front of me voluntarily, it's always a good feeling. I love it when my snakes are healthy and feeding and doing what they're supposed to do, because I deeply care for these animals and I spend a lot of time on them, and I really hate it when they're sick or under stress or when they have other problems. So I think this was great. I think he did a wonderful job, and I hope you guys loved it. I will hopefully have more footage of this guy soon. Alright. Alright, yeah. He took care of that rat like a champ, and everything is in order. Maybe you'll get a yawn out of him after that big meal, huh? Anyway, I really don't want to stress him out when he has, a decent sized meal in him. So I hope you guys enjoyed the show. Take care. Bye.